Okay, can you see me? Can you hear me now?
Chillin' with the girls, with the girls, with the girls, with the girls, chillin' with the girls.
Can I hear you?
Yes,
Can you hear me now?
we are back, y'all. Woo-hoo, chilling with the girls. Yes,
With the girls, with the girls, with the girls.
Hey, I'm going to bring on our guest tonight. We're so happy to have with us the real queen of real estate. Her name is Chanda Littlefield. She is
why are you
the
talking like
REMAX
that?
specialist. And we're just so thrilled. Not only is she beautiful, but
Oh,
she's highly successful in what she is doing.
Yes.
This is a classy lady, and she's going to let us know just what she's doing. And to Wanda, I believe they're going to start with questions so that we can bring up to date exactly what
Wait
she's
a
doing.
minute. Wait, who is the producer? That's all I want to know.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, well, I'm just introducing her because she's my friend, and that's why I'm bringing her in today.
My.
Yes,
I'm so sorry.
I just want to say we're going to have an exciting show tonight.
Yes.
Because we are going to be talking to Miss Chanda Littlefield about real estate. Come on, I know y'all want to know about real estate, right? And how to get that kind of stuff. Well, she's going to fill us in. Hi, Chanda. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well.
I'm good. How are you?
Welcome to our show. Okay, so can I just ask, when did you get started in real estate?
I started in real estate in 2007. So it's been 15 years since I became licensed. I'm a licensed real estate agent in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. And I started in 2007. So it's been a little over 15 years.
Wow.
So
Okay.
you like it?
Good.
You like what you do?
Yeah, I do. I enjoy it. I do enjoy it.
That's good.
Get to meet a lot of great people, like you guys. And, every day is different. Every day is different.
That's good. So what made you interested in real estate, though?
Well, the reason why I started was because I used to be in healthcare. And, growing up, I didn't have any aspirations to be in real estate whatsoever. I wanted to be in healthcare. Actually, specifically, I wanted to be a pediatrician. So, I wanted to go to school, go to college, go to medical school, and I wanted to pursue that. And then, then life happens and things don't necessarily work out that way. But I did want to be in healthcare. So I started working for a healthcare company in the area. And they don't tell you, the healthcare is actually pretty depressing.
Oh,
when you're, and I try to generally be a happy person, but at work, everybody's sick.
I can see
Everybody's
that.
sick.
Yeah.
And so it was rewarding, but it also came with, a lot of downs, every day somebody's sick, somebody needs help, and I actually worked in the radiology department. So when you have an illness or situation that you don't know how to resolve, you go to the doctor, and when you finish, they send you to either the lab to get some testing, right? Or radiology to get some type of imaging to see why you have this pain or, why you can't keep anything down. And so everyone that comes through our department is sick and trying to figure out what's wrong. So the conversations can be pretty heavy. I worked in specialty imaging, so the department that does the CAT scans and MRIs, and that means, you really do have something wrong. So on top of that, I had challenges with my family situation. I had 3 kids. They were small. My son was 2 at the time, and the commute to work was really a lot. I worked about 40 miles from where I lived. And so, the traffic and being in management at the time, you can't really take off from work, and if you do, nobody does your work for you when you're
Wow.
off. And with school schedules, and I'm sure all of you're all parents. They get out
Mhm.
2 hours early for snow. They go in 2 hours late. They have
Yes.
Columbus Day, they have
Yeah.
Yom Kippur, and all these things. And you're not off from work on those days, because school is 2 hours late doesn't mean that I can go to work 2 hours late. So
Mm.
it was challenging finding somebody to watch 3 kids
Mhm.
when I had had to still go to work when they didn't have school.
Mm-hmm.
So all day, you can get somebody to watch 2 kids or one, but somebody to watch 3 kids all day for you was a challenge. So I had to do something that was more flexible and replace my income that I was making quickly. And
Okay.
so I decided to sell real estate. I quit my job, and I started selling real estate. And it wasn't necessarily easy, but it was very rewarding, and I never looked back. It's probably one of the best decisions I made for myself, because it's been something that allows me to have the flexibility that I need with my family, um, flexibility with myself. So, like, a lot of people, when they want to take a vacation, they have to call in Slick, or like, you have 4 vacation days and you're trying to do this
Yeah.
5-day vacation. So you call in Slick on the 5th day. I don't have to call anybody. If my flight is delayed or something of
Mhm.
that nature, I don't have to call anybody and say, I'm coughing, I can't get there.
Right.
Those stresses are really not a concern of mine. And so life is a lot more freer, life is a lot more easier. Like I said, having the 4 vacation days and knowing that you have other things that you need to do, um, or you want to do, right?
Right.
Presents
Yeah.
a challenge, because you have to go to work. You don't want to get fired, you don't want to get written up. So you
That's true.
sacrifice so that
Right.
you continue to maintain your income, right? So for me, it's not that big of a deal if I go on a vacation, or like recently I went on my family reunion and we had to stay a day later, you know, or if I chose to stay a day later, it's just a matter of changing your flight, paying for
Mhm.
another night in a hotel, but not having to worry about getting back to work or a certain time to get back. Um, since the pandemic happened, it's become, excuse me, even more freer, because people are used to doing things virtually like we're doing now. So I
Yeah.
could do a buyer consultation with the buyer from anywhere, right? I don't have
Mhm.
to be at home. I don't have to be in Maryland. I don't have to be in this area. I could do it from Texas. And then when I come back, if I'm traveling, then I'll meet with the client then. So it affords a lot of flexibility. And I really do enjoy it. Really do enjoy it.
That is good. That
Is
is
it
very
easy to
good.
get into the real estate market?
If you want to be licensed, it's not necessarily hard, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not altogether easy either. Um, you do have to pass a 60-hour class before you can become licensed.
I heard that
And
test was hard.
so it's harder now than when I started. When I started, it wasn't necessarily easy then, but it's harder now. There is math. And so a lot
Okay.
of us haven't done a lot of math, since school. So if you haven't then very if that's not a good subject for you, you might have to brush up on it. But
Wow.
it requires studying. The people I know that are motivated, that want to do this, they pass.
Mhm.
But the
Okay.
people that just think they're just going to just take a class and do it, they fail. So I've had over the years quite a few people that want to sell real estate and were inspired by me, but in some way or form or fashion. But when they took the class, then they realized that they weren't able to get past the test, and then they just kind of gave up. I know more people that haven't passed in recent years than
Mm-hmm.
have passed. Um, and then, once you pass, then there's another sect of people that never go on to take the national test to actually become licensed. So it's a few step process, but and then after that, there's another sect of people that never sell anything. Um, even after they become licensed, they don't sell anything. So like the stats on that from National Association of Realtors is like 80% of the people that actually become a realtor only sell like 1 or 2 properties a year.
Wow. Are you kidding?
What?
Mm. And in this state, in Maryland, we have about 28,000 people that are licensed. That's a lot of people, right?
Wow.
So
Yes.
basically, it boils down to, like, you don't know if you've ever heard of the 80-20 rule. So like 20% of the people are doing 80% of the work.
Right.
80%
Yeah.
of the people are doing 20% of the work. It's basically the same. I work with quite a few people that are real estate agents or were, helping them sell their property or buy a property, um, because they don't really do that much, or they never did anything when they were licensed. And so it's not necessarily a business that you just fall into and you're successful. It is a business. And so unfortunately, it's not really marketed that way. And we
Hmm.
do have our challenges because everyone thinks that it's something you can do when you get off from work, after working all day, after fighting traffic. You're just gonna make some extra money, and it's not really like that.
I know they a
So
lot of people thinking they get in there and they're going to make all this money and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right.
yeah, it's a business. Most businesses, fail within the first 5 years of being in business, and so this isn't going to be anything different than that. You really do have to work on all of your skills, all of them, your marketing skills, your people skills, your time management skills, your money management skills,
Hmm.
to be successful. So it takes a lot more than what people might think. And unfortunately, there's a lot of casualties along the way. And then people just, I just would rather work for my government job, my 9 to 5, and just, let that alone. Some people are just licensed just to say that they're licensed, just to stay in touch with things. I run into them at classes, because we have to take continuing education
Hmm.
classes, and they are, just there. You just kind of there, they're around. But the people that are actually doing business and actually working with clients and staying in touch and engaged with what's going on in the market and keeping in tune with their clients, you can become very successful, make an unlimited amount of income. And, that's where I choose to be. Every day I'm working on improving myself, improving my skills, and working with my clients to help them get to where they want to be.
Okay.
But it does take a commitment, just like almost anything else. It does take a
Hmm.
commitment, and if you're willing to make that commitment, then you can be successful. It has its highs and lows, but I really do enjoy it. I enjoy meeting new people. Every day is different. It doesn't require it doesn't require for you to really answer to anyone, so you do have to be disciplined.
Oh wow.
If you're used to working for someone else, and used to being told
Yeah.
what to do, then this will be more of a challenge for you. But your motivation, your drive is what you have to focus on. And so for me, it was my kids, and something about them wanting to eat was important to them.
Sure
So
was.
yeah,
Still
you know,
is.
yeah, having a place to live, having the light bill, paid, and things like that was a little important to them. So and I also, like I said, I had to make sure that I was available for them because, working the regular job that I had, I was fighting traffic to work and from work. And if I didn't leave work by a certain time, I was always late to pick them up from daycare.
Wow.
Almost every day I was late. And so you can't leave your job early every day, right?
Yeah. Right.
Right.
So, now my kids are grown. I introduced you guys to my youngest. He's my youngest. So my daughters are 23 and 24, and they drive
Wow.
and they work. So, they don't really need me for all of that anymore. But they
Right.
when they were younger and they were in school, being able to pick them up every day from school is a luxury that some parents don't have. And so when they were in high school, I was able to do that, drop them off and pick them up, and help them with the things they had going on. So of course I'm still working, but you can definitely make your schedule and tailor it around your life.
Hmm.
So that was one of the benefits of doing this. And I've always been full time, so I've never had another job that I was trying to juggle and do this too. I don't know how you can be effective as an agent to assist your clients properly when you have something else constantly pulling at you.
Mhm.
So, what are some of your negative experiences, if you care to share with us, that you had to face in your job?
Is she? Oh. Oh, wow.
All right, hold up. Let's go back to everybody.
Did you
Oh,
hear me?
well, it looks like we lost her.
Something is going on because
Yeah.
StreamYard just kicked me out off the show.
Wow.
And we have our guests on here. I'm so sorry. This is not on us. Technical difficulties. We're working on it. But yeah, so we'll just give her a minute to come back on. And we're having this show because I was thinking about some of our viewers might be looking into purchasing a home or even changing their career, becoming a real estate agent or something like that. And so we thought it would be a good thing for us to have Chanda on here to give some direction. But yeah. So right now, what were you? Did you have any problems when you were buying your house?
Oh, well, but they had a lot of programs and stuff available for
Yeah.
me because I was a single parent, just like she
Okay.
was.
Mm-hmm.
And also I was a first time home buyer.
Okay.
So the market was better, years ago or whatever. And they had like other properties and stuff that were in my price range that, I could have. But what helped me was
Okay. Welcome back.
the programs. Those programs really did help me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if they're still, available now because that was like over 20 some years ago.
Right.
About 20 years ago when I had my house. So
Yeah, Chanda, we were talking about the different programs that will help people like first time home buyers, just because a lot of people, I guess some of people are tired of renting and, and they just want to own their own home. So
Yeah, renting is expensive.
it is yes.
It's very
it's
expensive.
ridiculous.
And in the
Yes.
last year and a half, most people have had, $500 and $600 rent increases in places they might have lived 10 and 15 years, or, they're changing the whole, maybe they're renovating, your building or whatever they're doing. And so on top of that, a lot of owners that are investors that rent out their properties have decided to sell. I've had quite a few clients last year and a half or so that call and, in a frenzy, like, oh, my lease is ended 6 months ago, a month to month, and my landlord just gave me 30-day notice. What do I need to do to buy? Like, when I look at the rental prices, they're so much more than what I was paying here, and so they're in a panic. And so as far as the programs are concerned, depending on where you live, or where you want to live rather, is where you would seek out the information on programs. So the programs are definitely locally based in the county or the state, and even sometimes the city where you want to live.
Okay.
So that's where you're going to need to start.
Okay.
The starting point is with the mortgage lender that you're going to be working with. Now, I'm going to preface that in saying that the mortgage lender you're working with will have to be able to participate with those programs. And the mortgage lender participating with those programs means that they have to have taken some type of classes or certification with the city, county, and state to offer the program to you. And all that really means is that they've gone through a class or taken a seminar, or gone through some type of certification to know how to administer the program to you. Because once you go to them, you get pre-qualified for your mortgage. They will see what type of programs you qualify for and are eligible for, and then they send your paperwork to the county for approval. And there's some backdoor channels that have to happen for that to occur. So um, the paperwork and applications are completed by the mortgage lender, right? For most of the programs. So there's a program for Frederick County that's out, that just rolled out. There's a program for Prince George's County. There's always a program for Baltimore City. Maryland mortgage program is still available. But with all of the programs, you as a buyer still have to contribute. So there was a time when the mortgage programs would allow for you to not have to pay your down payment or your closing costs. They would
They
cover
changed
everything. And so basically you're getting a house and you didn't have to put any money out.
Wow.
Absolutely. So if you can imagine, like,
Wow.
you're purchasing the most expensive thing in your life, that's
Yeah.
200, 300, $400,000, right? A lot of money. And you don't have to contribute anything. So
Yeah,
you
I
let that sit
mean,
in, sink in for a little bit. That doesn't make any sense. And so what happened, and
wow.
we had an issue, about 15 years ago, where the whole economy imploded because that was allowed to happen. Those same people did not have to have a high enough credit rating. You could have like a 560 credit score, and you
Right.
don't have to put any money down. So that meant you didn't have any money in the bank, right?
Yeah.
So when it came down to paying the mortgage, or if you had an issue, you already, didn't necessarily know how to pay your bills. That's probably why your credit score was low or something occurred. And so you found yourself in trouble and you weren't really vested in anything. So you just walked away from the property, right?
Mhm.
If you had to put money down on that
Yeah.
property, you wouldn't be as inclined to just walk away because you had
Hmm.
something invested in it. And so,
Right.
they found
Exactly.
that it was the wrong strategy to keep people in properties. And
Yeah.
they learned, and I say they, I'm referring to the banks, definitely learned from that situation. The government bailed them out in 2008 and 2009 to be able
Hmm.
to make sure that that would never happen again. So even though
Hmm.
now we're in a little bit of economic turmoil, the banks will work with you if you're in trouble. And this is for everybody that's listening. If you're in trouble, if you have problems paying your mortgage, you have to call your bank. When they're calling you to find out what they can do to help you, entertain
Hmm.
their phone call, answer the
Mhm.
phone, call them
Right.
back, because they want you to stay in the house. That's the only way
Yeah,
they make money, is for you to continue to pay them every month. So they'll
that's
do
true.
all types of workarounds for you. I know we're on a little bit different topic, but they'll do all types of workarounds with you, where either they'll take the money that you owe, the payment you missed, they'll put it on the back of the loan.
Hmm.
They'll take some of your principal, which is the amount that you paid for the house, maybe 40,000 of it, and defer the principal. So, you don't have to pay that right away. You don't have to pay that every month. It's they're going to finance a lower portion. Sometimes they will reduce your interest rate for a period of time. Maybe for the next 2 years, instead of your interest rate being 6%, it'll be 4%, which will
Hmm.
save you $300 a month.
Mhm.
So, a lot of people, the difference in them staying in their house or not is like $400 a month. So if
Okay.
they're able to work out something with you, then they will. And most of they will do anything they can to help you. So all you have to do is call them. Some people, they just need those two payments they missed to be put on the back of the loan. They'll bring you right back current. There's all kinds of things that they can do.
Now that's a
They did a lot.
deferment, right?
Yeah, they can do a deferment. No, that's not really a deferment.
What is
The
that?
deferment is when they defer you paying the mortgage for a period of time. Sometimes they even do a loan modification. And so you're
Okay.
not making payments for a period of time until they come to their conclusion on whether or not they're going to approve you for the
Yeah.
loan modification to modify your whole loan completely, based
Mhm.
on the income you're getting now. So
Mhm.
maybe you have income that was reduced, maybe you had a shift in your job, maybe you had to change jobs and so you're making less, and so
Mhm.
you just have to communicate with them, and they'll do their best to work with you. As long as you want to stay in the house, they will work with you. So I would tell anybody that has issues, just tell them that you want to stay in your house, is because they will ask you, do you want to stay in your house? And the answer should
Mhm.
always
Mhm.
be yes. Even
Okay.
if you have to go to court, even if you have to see the judge, your answer should always be yes.
Mhm.
Always.
Yeah.
Wow.
But for programs, there are quite a few that are available. It just depends on your eligibility. Some people don't qualify for the programs. And to give you like an inside scoop, the reason is because they're income driven. So just like with any other government program, it's
Mhm.
based on your income, right? So if you're only making X amount, if you're making X amount and the income requirement allows you to make a maximum of 10,000 less than that, well, you don't qualify, and it's based on
Right.
your household size. So if you have four people in your household and the max income is 120,000, and you and your spouse and your two children combined income make 100,000, then you qualify. But if you make 140,000, then you're not eligible, for that program. And
Mm.
a lot of people find themselves in that position. Over the years, I've worked with so many people, and the single people sometimes get the short end of the stick, unfortunately, because they're by themselves and they make, more than what the median income level allows for the county. And we don't set those numbers, unfortunately, but the county does, based on all the numbers that they have, based on census and some other
Yeah.
numbers that they pull out, and determine for that specific area how much money people are making and what the economy can bear. It is very low for most areas for one person. It's like 50,000. And so if you look at the pricing on some properties, you have to be making more than 50,000 to qualify to purchase at that price. So
Okay.
I haven't had too many single people be able to use the programs, that are making enough to qualify to purchase the house. But definitely your families, 3, 4 people, 5 people are usually in a good position with the household income limits to be able to qualify and be eligible. But again, like I said, you still will have to have some what we call skin in the game. You do
Mm-hmm.
have to pay for your appraisal, you have to pay for your home inspection, and you do have to pay for your earnest money deposit to put down to purchase the house. You also have to pay for a portion usually a portion of your down payment. So if the program allows for you to get $10,000 and the down payment ends up being 15,000, well, the program's only going to give you 10. So you have to come up with the balance, right? So
Right.
you would still
Okay.
need
Yeah.
some monies, right? Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's not going to be 15,000. The total was 15,000. So that's just as an example. Some
Easier for you to
properties,
come up with. Yeah.
yeah, some properties you end up, spending less. It just depends. In
So
real
I have
estate, everything's
oh,
percentages. Go
I have
ahead.
a comment from our viewers, lady. Hey, lady, welcome
Hi.
back. Thank you for tuning in. She said her mom passed away before she had a chance to sign her house over to her. Still, with a little bit of help, she ended up losing a house. She was like, please prepare for those times. So she said she couldn't get help because it wasn't in her name. And she was like, do you have advice for someone in her situation?
Basically to get the affairs in order,
Yeah.
we're all alive, we're all well now, but that might not be one day. So we have to prepare for that. And we all know that day is coming. We don't know the day or the hour, but it's definitely coming. So be proactive about it. Even if she didn't even if she didn't have the house signed over to her, she can always have her will prepared, her
I
last
was
will
going
and
to say, will
testament.
it? Or, yeah.
And so that after that situation happened, unfortunately, her mother passed away. The paperwork that comes after the fact with the will in place, the property would be given to the person that's the beneficiary. And that property, you would then go to the tax and recordation office and have the property put into your name so that you can handle the proper business.
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of us don't do that, and there's a house sitting there, and someone has to be appointed, it has to go through probate and all of these things.
Hmm.
And those things can definitely be avoided. So when you can say so, you should say so. After the fact, there are some things that you can do, but you're going to definitely have to hire a real estate attorney and hire someone to assist you with that. Don't try to do those things by yourself.
Okay.
I see that a lot. People try to handle things by themselves and they don't do things properly. And
So,
so,
Chanda, I thought that if you were, I know that I don't know if this is off topic or whatever. I thought that if you were a beneficiary for, your loved one or whatever, it's just, automatic that I guess you would own their
In power of
property.
attorney
Yeah,
or
something like
beneficiary.
that.
Okay.
Isn't that like that's not automatic? You still may lose the house.
If you're not in a will, I think you have to be in their will.
I'm saying if you you're like a power of attorney or a beneficiary for your loved one or something, it's still possible that you can
for your
lose.
loved one or something. Well, regardless, she shouldn't have lost the house. There are things that can be done. You have to hire someone. It's going to cost money. So a lot of people run into the issue with the money piece, and they're not willing to spend the money that's going to take to resolve that. They just let it go.
And
I
also the
can't tell. I lost.
information. Oh, go
Yeah, I
ahead.
can't tell you how many people I've talked to over the years who just let the property go. Like, I don't feel like dealing with it. It's going to cost. I just don't feel like
Yeah.
it. And they just let it go. But there is definitely no automatic. There's no automatic because the county office that holds the records for the properties doesn't know who you are. They don't know you. They know who the
Hmm.
person is that own the property.
Right.
But in
Yeah.
order for things to be established, you have to have paperwork. Everything always goes back to the paperwork in real estate. So putting those things down on paper is extremely, extremely important. There's no automatic, it has to be appointed and determined at a certain point that, okay, yes, this person was her daughter. There are no other heirs, but that's a process, that's the probate process, which can take a while. So
Mm-hmm.
the person
Wow.
who had the property needs to make sure they secure their asset properly before something happens to them, so that things can be managed in a timely fashion after they pass away, and in a fashion where everyone benefits instead of costing everyone. So when you're able to say so, you should say so. So it alleviates your family members. So I've done quite a few estate sales over the years. I'm actually doing one right now, and um, the the state will appoint an executor or an executrix of the estate for your property, but it's a process, and the process isn't necessarily short. So, taking care of those things, like I said, in advance it makes things so much easier. In your will, you can appoint who your executor or your executrix is going to be. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's no question, it can be handled, quickly after that happens. Because some of the properties, it might have been where you lived alone, and you didn't have anybody there with you, and then nobody wants to live there, but it leaves a burden to the family because now the house is just sitting, and having a house
Right.
sitting vacant is a liability. um it can be come with another set of issues while you're grieving. You really don't want to deal with that. So if you're able to say so, when you can say so, definitely do it. Get your will prepared, have it recorded. Another thing that people run into is where they have a will prepared and they don't sign it. Okay, that is not going to work. It's not signed. And then on top
Right.
of that, then people actually don't even get the will registered. So just because you have one drafted, you still have to get it you still have to get it registered.
Yeah. Yeah.
So once you get it registered, then it's definitely a legal document that's enforceable. So there's a few steps along that way. So, taking the time and taking some funds, putting some funds aside to be able to manage that will benefit everybody in the long run. Um,
Can we shift a little
but yeah,
bit to Shanda to
But
some?
I have something to
Oh,
suggest. That
go ahead.
there is free legal assistance too. There's
It's
places
free
you can
legal
go
assistance, Mom.
and
That's
get
good.
your things free. And then sometimes the elderly can get free stuff. You don't have to be old if you just reach that monetary criteria for it. If you're under, certain amount of money in your budget, they will do paperwork and do things for you free, and they give you advice.
Is that like through legal aid or something like that?
No, not legal aid. There may be a charge for that. But no, this is something like it might be like a Catholic society or something. I have the telephone number in my files where
Okay.
they will assist you for free.
Yeah,
So like a
Shanda's
nonprofit or something.
And then also, I went to a class in at college, and there was a young man, a student, so he gets a lot of his legal work free from the students from University of Maryland.
studying
Um,
law.
yeah, and they did his stuff free of charge. And what made it so good, they all had professionals to look it over and make sure it flew, it was
Yeah,
okay. And
because
that's what
lady
he.
said she found out how she could have gotten a house, but it was too late. It was like 2 or 3 years too late, and the house was sold. So Shanda, how do you feel about foreclosed and short sale homes? What are the advantages and disadvantages of buying those?
So I actually used to list foreclosures where I had a contract with the banks to be able to list the properties that they want to sell after they foreclose on a
Mhm.
consumer. And so I have a lot of experience with those. Also with short sales, there was a point in time where that was all I was doing with short sales, because that was all the inventory we had was foreclosures and short sales. Um, Buying a short sale is not a short process.
It's
So you can
It's a short
you can get
sale.
It means short is
And
kind
they
of
don't
deceiving, but
always
the
go
reason why it's
through. They don't always go
no,
through for you.
no.
You
It's
get your
called a
hopes up
short sale
high.
because this
Let me write down my pet peeve.
mhm.
Go ahead. Keep on talking.
The short sale is referred to as that because the seller is selling it short of what they owe.
Right.
But
The
the process
money.
Okay.
Not the time, because that's the longest sale ever.
yeah, it can take a while. Everything that the seller has going on has to be reviewed by the bank because the bank is going to take a loss. So they have to review the seller's documents, finances, and a lot of particulars, and then go back to their books as the bank and determine whether or not they're going to allow for this seller to sell it for 20, 40, 100,000, $150,000 less than what the seller owes them
Yep.
Okay.
to release the lien on that property.
Okay.
So if you can imagine if somebody owes you $600,000 and then they come back and say, "Hey, I can't keep it. I'm not gonna be able to pay 1,000. Would you let me go for 400,000?"
And Wells Fargo
How
gonna
would you
say
feel?
nope.
So the bank has to go through their process. Yeah.
They're gonna tell you no.
You have to really show a hardship as an owner
Yeah.
in order to show a hardship as an owner in order to get a short sale approved. As a buyer, you have to be patient. If it's the house you want, just know that it can take a while. It can take you. They usually take at least 90 days, sometimes more. One of the ones that I did, it took 2 years to get it closed. We went through 5 buyers.
Mm.
We
Wow.
went through
But
5 buyers before we got to the settlement.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Go
I
ahead.
think this is
mine. One more lady asked, "Are there any dollar homes available?" Remember that back in the day they used to have those dollar homes.
No.
Oh.
No, that happened back in the 70s in DC, and they did it in Baltimore at one point. There's
Yeah.
some buzz about it possibly happening in Baltimore again, but just keep your eyes and ears open. But just know, just because something's $1 doesn't mean that it's going to just cost you $1.
Yeah.
The house
Yeah.
might be $1, but the person might owe back taxes on the house that have to be paid.
Yeah.
There might be an extensive water bill that might still be due. So just be wary. Be everything that you think is going to be cost nothing, it might end up costing you something. So just like with the short sales, and I wanted to go back to the foreclosures really quick. The short sales are sold as is, and so are most of the foreclosures. They're sold as is. Some of those properties haven't been inhabited or occupied in a long time. So just like anything else that's been sitting for a long time and hasn't been used, it can possibly have problems, right?
Right.
So,
That's
you
right.
know, that can be a disadvantage. If you buy a foreclosure, it's been vacant. And so the bank doesn't care. They just want their money back. So they're not usually going to do anything to the house. They're going to sell it for a good price, but you might have issues with it. So just, be mindful. It can be a good deal, but it's going to be something that you might have to spend some money on. That extra money that you think you're saving, you might have to turn right back around and spend it on appliances, flooring, carpet,
Right.
an
Yeah.
HVAC system. You might have to spend it
Right.
on windows. I showed a property not that long ago. It didn't have any windows at
What?
all the windows. The owner must have taken every window in the house was gone. Every single window. They
The
had
owners of the what?
plexiglass. I guess I don't know all the windows in the entire house, and it was about a 4,000 square foot house. So it had a lot of windows. Every
Oh
window was
my
gone.
goodness. Oh, that's like that movie.
Every single window.
That's crazy.
Must have been some nice windows.
I don't know. It was because windows are not just like you can't just
You
use
can't
them
just,
anywhere. So I don't know.
yeah, right. They probably built a
Custom
house
built
with
for
the
the
same
house.
dimensions.
She said you can't
There are
just
no
put
two
it
houses
anywhere.
exactly alike. Can't
Well,
just
well,
reuse windows. So I don't know.
Right. They were
well,
like,
well,
you're not getting
well,
no.
Yeah. So
Chanda, what's the benefit of
yes.
reverse mortgaging?
So for people that are in the older population, they can take advantage of it usually on a house that they lived in for a long time, that they don't own a mortgage anymore, and they might be on a fixed income and they just want to live their life. They might be sitting on a gold mine. Their money, their asset is they're sitting in it.
Mhm.
You know, if your house is paid for and you're older and you want to travel, or you want to, just have money to spend, or you want to spend money on the grandkids or whatever it is, but you're only getting a certain amount of money a month, you could do a reverse mortgage on your house, and they will basically front you the money in your equity. So you could take out 100,000 or 150,000 or whatever it is that you determine, and you don't have to pay the money back. You don't have a mortgage payment, and you don't have to pay the money back until something, God forbid, something happens to you and
Mhm.
you pass away. Then the money becomes due, and they'll either sell the property or your family members can then buy the property back from the bank. But
Oh,
the
so
time period that you had the house, you can live there until you pass away and not have to pay mortgage or pay that money back.
Wow.
Oh,
and
but
so
you
for you.
do, but you know what? I know something like this that happened, but they almost lost it, even though it was they had reverse mortgaging because I thought they had to pay taxes or something, and then someone said that your family wouldn't automatically inherit that house. They would have to qualify for the house just like they were just, anybody else.
To purchase it.
Yeah, they have to buy the house. They have to pay off
They
that
have to
mortgage to get
qualify
to have
for
the
it.
house.
They have to qualify to get that house.
Yeah, if you don't have the money to buy it, then you have
Hmm.
to borrow it. So you have to qualify to get a loan in order to pay the money back to keep the house. And then you would end up having a mortgage payment yourself as the family member. Um, so that's how sometimes people end up not having the house later because their family member, their parent or their uncle or whoever it is did a
Yeah.
reverse mortgage, and then they borrowed more than what the family member could end up qualifying for later. And of course, it comes with fees. So whatever you borrow is definitely going to be more money to pay that back.
Mm.
Wow.
Definitely.
So
So for some people, it's not a right fit, but for other people, it is. Just depends on your situation.
next, so it seems like the reverse mortgage is in the benefit of the older person and not the family members or something because they
Yeah,
don't
Yeah, it
want.
just depends. I mean, if someone owns their property and they don't have a mortgage at all, they own it free and clear, and they
Mhm.
borrow $150,000, $150,000 mortgage doesn't equate to be that much money per month. Most people are paying way more in rent every month than that equates to in a mortgage payment.
Right.
Mhm.
So if someone passes away, they would have to pay the bank. And I'm just using easy numbers. We're just using 150,000. If that's what they have to pay the bank back to buy the property, to keep the property in the family, the mortgage payment is going to be pretty low on that. Around $1,000, $1,200 a month. And so that might be worth it for a family member to do, to
Yeah.
keep the property and then move into the property.
mhm.
But again, like your mom was saying, if you're not able to qualify, you don't, meet the criteria to qualify for a loan, then you will end up watching your family's property go, and they will sell it for
Wow.
sure
Wow. Wow.
because they want their money back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you
Um,
just you just
but
can't will it. You can't will it to your family if you got that
If you do
reverse
a
mortgage.
reverse mortgage, it's because it's not your house.
That's right. You can't.
well, you still can. It's just that the property will have to be sold. If you will it to another family member, it's just like any other mortgage payment. There are plenty of people that pass away and have a mortgage still. If you will it to your family member, then they're excuse me, be responsible for continuing to pay the mortgage payment, or they have to sell it.
Right. Right.
So
And
if
you know
if
what I
you
also
owe them,
heard? You know what I heard the other
mhm,
day or the other week that someone that's
excuse me,
can have Section H. You know, they are
Eight.
able to buy a house. Is it
H.
Section H or Section 8?
Eight. The number eight.
8.
Eight.
Section
Oh,
8.
I never could understand it. But anyway, they
Section
say
eight.
they were able
Yes.
to buy a house, and
Well,
they
they
have
they were saying
Their
if you have a
houses,
voucher, you can get a voucher
house
to buy a house. Is that true? No, she's frozen.
I don't know what's going on with this technical
Let me.
stuff.
Yes, that is true.
So
Is it?
Yes.
with the
This is important
Yes,
to know.
Yeah.
with the Section 8 voucher, it just depends on where the person lives. Every jurisdiction does something a little different. For the contact the jurisdiction where you usually always you have to RN to be eligible for that, and everyone's not eligible. And usually property that is already owned by the government, like a HUD home.
Mm-hmm.
And right at this moment, we don't have a whole lot of HUD homes in inventory.
Really?
But yeah, a HUD home is a home that someone had a government loan on. So if you had an FHA loan
Mm-hmm.
or a VA loan and you foreclose, the
Right.
government would now own that property because
Right.
it was a government-backed loan.
Yeah. Right.
And housing and urban development now takes over owning that property until they can sell it. And just like I said, anything with the government, it takes a while, it takes longer. Those houses sit and go into disrepair for months, sometimes years before they get all the particulars worked out, and they're in pretty bad shape.
That's
When we have them, which the banks have not been foreclosing the way that they were. We don't have that many foreclosures, so that puts people in a disadvantage in that situation. But I would refer them right back to the jurisdiction where they got their voucher from and see what opportunity they have there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on our show. We really enjoyed it.
We're gonna have to have her back.
Definitely, because
we have so many questions.
Yeah, so many. And I wanted to ask the people in virtual land to send your questions in, because we definitely want to get her back, because I know there are questions out there, people trying to buy a home. But this is our pet peeve segment. And we have some, Chanda, I have a real estate pet peeve. When we talk about the short sale, I would have the house and it had a swimming pool in the backyard, and it was like huge, and it was in I can't remember where it was, but it was right off of Liberty Road. So I was fighting with Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo would not release that house. You hear me? It was a basketball player's house who moved to Germany, was playing basketball in Germany and everything. So he didn't really keep the house up. I think it was a blessing in disguise too, because like you said, it was a lot of work. The kitchen was dated, and they had this big mirror on the wall. So it was lots. So that was one of my pet peeves. Do not get a short sale if you don't have patience.
Oh, wow. Because it's not a short sale.
Yeah, you definitely need patience for those. And I have a pet peeve with short sales too, because they're not short.
They're not short. And they sound so good. I have a short sale. Yes, it's a short sale.
I have a pet peeve.
Go ahead. What's your
when
pet
you
peeve?
have a realtor and you are looking for houses, when the realtor don't show you the houses you want to see.
No,
that's mine.
I can't believe they just want to show you the houses they want you to see.
Yep.
You have a list of houses. Why do they do that?
My realtor,
Shit.
I don't
You
have
have a list of houses, and we can see this one this day. We can see this one that day. And then when it comes the day to go see the house, that one is sold. But we can show you this one. Are you for real? That's
we have to show you something.
Right.
Because I've scheduled the time to show you properties today, and I can't control what the inventory is. I don't typically do that. I usually have a conversation in advance and let them know, like, the two houses you wanted to see are not available anymore. Do you want to see these other ones? And I let them decide. Sometimes they say no. Sometimes they say yes, but it's a matter of experience. I don't usually do surprise showings on people, even though people do it to us. I have that pet peeve. I'm out. We're supposed to see 3 houses, and then we can see the third one. Oh, Chanda, I saw this on Zillow. I want to see this house, and it's 40 minutes away.
No way.
It's getting dark. It happens all the time. It happens all the time.
Wow.
Oh, I saw this one on Redfin. Do you think we can take a look at it? And, when I look at it, I haven't scheduled with the seller.
Right.
So a lot
So
of
you
this
got to
isn't
make phone
necessarily
calls.
me. It's the other side. I have to schedule, and it isn't always going to be convenient for the other side. This is not a open house. It's not a new model construction where
Mhm.
the
Right.
house is vacant. People are living in a lot of these houses, so it's
Oh
not
yeah.
Yeah.
necessarily me.
Right.
Sometimes the houses you want to see just aren't available the day that you want to see them. So,
Okay.
Mhm.
it isn't
Well, I have
always
a pet. Mm.
Mom, what's your pet
it isn't
peeve?
always
My
an
pet
issue
peeve is
for
we
me.
were
Go
going to
ahead.
move when we had the empty nesting syndrome. Your dad and I were going to move to something. It's like you cannot believe what you see on the internet.
Hey,
It's not the same as the real McCoy, I'm telling you.
you're
So
right.
we were all the rooms were big. They say you could oversee the inner harbor, and it was gonna be so nice. So we went in person. We saw this place. It's upstairs. I think it's supposed to be like a condo. It
Uh-huh.
was so little, and guess what? My view was the little
What?
window. It was like on Utah's place, and it was like a business, and all we could see was this red brick wall. And guess, guess what the picture on TV on the computer? It had like this green in front of the steps and the beautiful flowers. And guess what? It
What?
was some sort of a green carpet over top of like you're looking over at the window
Like a
like a little
rooftop or
roof.
something?
The,
Yeah.
the carpet, the yard was like a little roof when they had covered it with like fake green
Green
grass.
carpet.
I
That's
say, Mama,
yes, that's terrible.
and it looked so beautiful on the screen, but in reality, it was. Oh, I was just,
That is
we
a
got away
big
from that
one.
place.
That's a big one.
Wow. Now,
Yeah,
what's
because
your pet peeve?
Oh,
Yes.
almost like Tawanda's when you tell the realtor, what you're looking for or whatever. So the realtor that I had, I laid out everything. I told her exactly how many bedrooms I wanted.
Yeah.
I didn't want a whole lot of steps because I had little kids and all that kind of stuff. And she would call me and say, "Oh, I got the perfect place for you." So we went to this place, and you had to go up at least 155 stairs.
Stop now.
I was like, now I know if I just came from the grocery store with all these bags and babies, I can't go up all them steps. I was like, did you look at my application with what I was asking for? What happened?
right. But you know what? How likely is it? How likely is it that every time you choose these houses off this list, that every time you go to see it, it's not available anymore?
Right.
And I'm gonna show you this differently. Is that extremely likely?
Right.
Well,
Yeah, when you own Redfin and Zillow, absolutely.
That's that
Absolutely.
that's
Wow.
a huge pet peeve.
yeah, because what you need to do is go back on there and see if it's available. Sometimes the sale is pending and all that. Because I did my footwork. I gave my realtor all, and she was really nice. I gave her all my homes, and even this one I'm living in now. I saw it on. I was like, oh, I want this one. And she drove right here. She was like, blank. Mind me say blankly blank. She was like, this is fine.
It was nice though.
But it's just, I guess my pet peeve is just that you really have to have patience when you're buying something, because
Yeah.
and Chanda is not a pet peeve, but she took my, because you know how you have to put the down payment down, or something down when you put an offer to a house. And I didn't know that you have to put in like $2,000, $3,000, depending on how much the house is, whatever. She took my $2,000 to every house that I put an offer on. Like the lawyer was right there. Use this, use this. So I didn't have to come out of pocket with anything because of the short sale. Because like, well, she's waiting on her short sale. She already put her $2,000 down on the short sale, put the offer in, and blah blah blah. But it was like it's work. It's work.
Mm.
Yeah.
Another pet peeve is
A lot of work.
packing.
Is what?
Packing.
You need to hire somebody to pack for you, Tish.
I know.
You can hire me, Tish, because I like to pack.
Do you really?
Yes, I do.
A
That's
house?
hilarious.
Yes. Organize everything in every room.
If you have a lot of time,
Why is it though? Okay, so I started packing in my apartment like months in advance. You know, because I like organized. I had boxes organized.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it at the last minute you got that junk box? It was like, throw it in that box.
That's so true.
And then you can't find it. It was like, wait a minute. It was so organized. It was like, man, this. I packed my dishes up in time, my pots and pans, everything was just packed. My clothes, and all of a sudden, day one, day two, before I believe it, I had this big old couple of junk boxes. Just put it in there. Put it. What you gonna do with this? Put it in the box. And I was like, how did that happen?
Right, because it's like, where did the stuff come from? I thought I packed everything.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah, that's funny. That is.
But you know, it's a pet peeve when you're renting. Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
I know my mother, we rented a lot of houses. We must have moved like 25 times when I was a little girl. And but the pet peeve with that, don't move into it unless you really have to. Now we had to move quickly, but if they gonna promise you're gonna fix it, let them fix it first. Because when you move in, they're not coming back to fix it.
They ain't coming back.
They're not coming back.
My pet peeve with renting is the landlord, well, I say landowner, is not a landlord, they're a slumlord.
Oh no.
It's horrible.
Oh,
that's
wow.
a huge pet peeve when they just don't fix anything. You know? They just, well, can't your husband do it? Are you for real? This is your house.
Your daddy did. Your daddy fixed up every place. He worked all night painting and had to work all day. And he liked doing that anyway.
You say every place. How many places did y'all have? I thought y'all only had
about
2 places.
3. We moved about 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we moved about 3 times.
My pet peeve is HOA. Cause they don't do nothing. What are you paying them for? You gotta cut your own grass. You gotta make sure, you know, you take out your own trash. Nobody do nothing. People dumping stuff in front of your yard and they don't take care of it.
Wow.
You know, nothing. I'm like, what are you paying? Why are you paying them?
Right.
Don't you have meetings? Do you have meetings?
We have a meeting like probably once a year or something.
What?
I think we just had one last week, but I think just forget about that. Gotta wait for 2023.
But you have to go to the neighborhoods that don't have an HOA. Check those out.
That's what I was getting ready to say. When you're looking for a house,
to the neighborhood,
make sure
you can tell.
No I look at no HOA, and that's what I say.
How can you tell?
Because it's on.
Go to a neighborhood, drive through, and you'll be able to tell. Drive through the ones that have the
looking at it.
Yeah,
on jazz.
There are stipulations. You can't just have anything, you know, at an HOA property.
That's how you tell.
Yeah. So the ones that have the purple houses, you know, the neighborhoods that have all the Christmas lights up in July.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones that don't have an HOA.
And the red, white, and blue fences and the red, white, and blue houses.
And how about when they don't want?
I don't want to live at those houses.
How about when they don't want some people to move into the house? And it was this condominium in Pikesville that I was looking at, right? And the house, the monthly payment was like probably about $1,300 or something. Not bad. I was like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. Then the HOA was $1,000 a month.
What the blood of Jesus?
Well, the condos, yeah, the condos.
I was like, oh, they don't want me to come in there. I understand.
Yeah, that's funny.
I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my goodness.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so when you're looking at homes to purchase, that's the first thing I do look for in that listing, that there's no HOA first.
Okay.
Then I look
Sister
for
Gloria Chris is on.
Oh, hey, Gloria.
Hi, Gloria. Yeah, that is for real. Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, Chanda. We have to have you back. Are you willing to come back? Because we have some more questions to ask. We really
Yes.
enjoyed you. Thank y'all for tuning in to Chilling with the Girls. We will see y'all next week. Have a great weekend. Hopefully, we won't have none of these technical difficulties. I'm disappearing.
No.
People spinning. All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Oh, they said they charged the person for having a recliner on their back porch.
What?
Because you can't have it on there. Okay, bye, y'all.